Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Keep Indiana Learning live stream. Whether you're joining us live or for the replay, we are so happy to have you here. Please don't hesitate to comment, like, and share all of the good social media things. My name is Samantha Duprea, and I am a former educator. I taught for 5 years in California, Arizona, and South Korea. The Modern Classrooms Project is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing educators with the professional development and ongoing support that they need to implement self-paced, personalized, mastery-based learning environments with their own students. And we've partnered with Keep Indiana Learning to provide the support to Indiana educators completely free of charge. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. But first, I'd like to introduce my guest here, Debbie Menard. Debbie, thank you for joining us. And please tell us just a little bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Yeah, super excited to be here. Hi, everyone. My name's Debbie. Currently, I am the virtual mentorship program manager here at Modern Classrooms Project. But before that, I was an educator myself as well. For 10 years, I was a high school biology teacher. I like to say if it was a biology class, I taught it. ELL, team taught bio, SPED, team taught bio, honors bio, gen ed bio, IB bio. If it was a bio class, I was teaching it somewhere, but mostly in the DC and Virginia area is where the bulk of my educating happened.
Well, thank you for introducing yourself, and bless you for teaching biology, because it was always the science subject I was the worst at. So I wish that you'd been my science teacher. And tell us, what is your favorite summer activity, since we're on the countdown to summer and it's time to start enjoying the sun?
It's so funny. I used to like to tell my students all the time that Cinco de Mayo today marks the first day of my personal summer, because this was around the time state testing was done. It was, the easy end of the school year. So my favorite thing to do is to go to, so DC has a lot of beer gardens and just like outdoor spaces that have like cornhole, bocce ball, or just like sitting areas to enjoy the sunshine. So it's just like my favorite summer activity to do, to just go one of those, bring a book or my laptop, kind of just hang out, whether or not I have a glass of wine in my hand, all depends on the day, but just being able to sit at one of these patios or rooftops and just enjoying the sunshine and taking in the view. It's my favorite summer activity.
Oh, I can't agree enough. I'm in Detroit, and it's kind of a gloomy day behind me. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, I just am so ready for the April showers and May showers to go away so that I can enjoy like a nice, warm, sunshiny day. So.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. And Debbie, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today. And we're going to get to you in just a moment, but I wanted to provide a little bit more information to our guests today about Modern Classrooms Project and Keep Indiana Learning, the partnership that brings us all together. So like I said, we've partnered Modern Classrooms Project and Keep Indiana Learning. And our goal here is to bring educators the support that they need to transition to true student-centered learning. So instead of a traditional model of a teacher teaching the same thing to 30 or 40 students at the front of the room, who we all know have a variety of different experiences and different needs, we're helping educators step down from the front of the room and meet students where they're at. So that's why I say truly student-centered learning. So our partnership with Keep Indiana Learning allows us to bring a really unique learning opportunity to all Indiana educators through our virtual Summer Institute. So this is a professional development opportunity that will guide you through creating self-paced, mastery-based blended learning for your classrooms that you'll be able to use in the fall. So not only will you be creating content you can actually use, but you'll be partnered with an expert mentor. So this is a person who is an educator themselves. They've implemented a modern classroom of their own, and they're there to guide you every step of the way. So we know that every class is unique, and every student is unique. And so this mentor can help you think through your classroom's unique circumstances and then help you tailor this model to your unique needs. So that's kind of the Virtual Summer Institute and this opportunity in a nutshell. I want to remind Indiana educators this is completely free of charge to you and is brought to you by Keep Indiana Learning. If you'd like to apply, you can do so at modernclassrooms.org/Indiana. And I'd like to ask Debbie, who is someone who is heavily involved in our Summer Institute this year, what does the program entail from your perspective?
Oh, Summer Institute is my favorite time of the year here at Modern Classrooms. So it's a 5-week intensive where we, the staff, expert mentors, are supporting you in thinking through how you want to create a blended learning, mastery-based, self-paced classroom in the upcoming school year. And I know you're not thinking about the upcoming school year, but you will later on this summer. So I still encourage you to come on out and apply for our summer sessions. But the beauty about our summer sessions is that we have a litany of optional workshops and opportunities to collaborate with educators all around the world. And when I say all around the world, I truly mean all around the world. So from coast to coast in America, Australia, Canada, Malaysia, Nigeria, Ghana, we have so many educators around the world implementing this model. So you get to collaborate with them in interactive optional workshops that are targeted into different themes, different topics. So trauma-informed classrooms, advanced learning management systems, co-planning models. So whatever it is that interests you and how you want to utilize modern classrooms in your classrooms, we have those optional workshops over the summer and an opportunity to collaborate with other educators in the same content area, grade level, to kind of get a sense of how they're doing and maybe steal some ideas so you can continue to refine and revise what you're currently working with. So that's the virtual Summer Institute in a nutshell.
Yeah, thank you for that, Debbie. And something that I'm really excited about for this year in particular are the social hours, where educators can kind of come together based on their region and share not just their like grade level best practices, but also those regional ones, since we know sometimes, working with the same kind of standards is really important, or, just kind of understanding the unique educational landscape in your state. So really providing like multiple ways for you to connect with others, whether or not they're near or far, teaching the same grade level or not. And that's really, like, to me, some of the beauty of this model is that while we've got the basics, the framework kind of laid out, it really is what you make of it, and you can tailor it to your different needs.
Absolutely. It's been really great to also watch mentees connect with other educators in their state and do site visits, right? Like, hey, I'm going to be in your area. Can I pop into your classroom, see what you're doing? And it's just so great to see that collaboration piece and folks just working together for the good of all children.
Totally. I know that when I was teaching, the most valuable educational experiences for me in learning how to be a better teacher were seeing my coworkers and how they approach their classrooms. And I learned what to do and also, like, what not to do. So I really appreciate your perspective on Virtual Summer Institute, Debbie. And I know that since you were a biology teacher who implemented a modern classroom of your own, you told me, so, toot your own horn, that you really excelled in implementing self-paced structures in particular. And I think this one can be a real challenge for some educators to think through how to do self-pacing. So I would love if you could just share with us what a self-paced classroom looked like for you.
Yes, absolutely. I taught what I like to call the big kids. So I taught ninth, 10th grade, and 11th, so ninth through 11th grade. And in the last school that I was in, that is where I implemented modern classrooms. In particular, I had students from all walks of life. So kiddos in a second grade reading level and kids who are going to cure cancer tomorrow, all sitting in the same class. So it was really important to me to make sure that although we're all in the same unit, that everyone was targeted at whatever assignment was meeting where they currently were at. So for me, I started with outlining my essential assignments versus my extension assignments. So making sure that all students knew these were the must-do assignments. Everyone has to do this. And then there were assignments that were should-dos or things that aspired to do. I personally didn't tell my students which assignments were which, because if you've ever met a teenager, they all like to pretend they are incapable of doing something when they are fully capable. So I just really wanted them to at least try and challenge themselves. So I used Canvas. I'm obsessed with Canvas. Canvas did not pay me to say that. I just truly am obsessed with Canvas. I love Canvas so much because of all the customization that you can do with Canvas to target each individual student's needs in your classroom. So when I edited my assignments, I would just put in, if it was an assignment that really I wanted them to challenge themselves, I would just put the student names at the bottom so that they could see it. And students who just needed a little more time to work or one-on-one with me, they would get the must-dos and they would see a different set of assignments in Canvas. So that was like my first step, writing down all the assignments I had and categorizing them with essential versus extension. And then from there, working with Canvas. So as I mentioned, I love Canvas, and all of my modules were different units. And one of the big things that really supported my students with self-pacing, besides putting their names so that they can see a different set of assignments, was adding module requirements. And there are about 2 module requirements that I used. So you have the mastery pathways, which I really enjoyed. So where you can do a pre-assessment, if you will. Students would take the pre-assessment, and depending on how much they already know about the particular topic, the mastery pathway would curate a set of assignments for each student based off of what they have already shown mastery in the preview assignment and what they still need support in understanding. So if your student is really a high flyer, high achieving, they already know everything they need to know about cell division and cancer, they're getting a curated set of extension assignments, challenging assignments to really deepen their thought and the learning objective. And if a student got a 0 out of 10 on the preview, they know nothing, they're getting a set of assignments to really build their knowledge on the topic. So I loved mastery pathways for that, to support each student with self-pacing through the unit and the lesson and gaining the learning objective. And it kind of gave me time to also walk around and check in with each kiddo too.
So wait, Debbie, you're
Yeah.
saying that your mastery pathways allowed you to like personalize each individual unit to what a student already knew?
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes, it's amazing. So you put in all of your assignments, and then you tell the mastery pathway if a student earns, so this one was out of 5 points. So if a student earns 0 to 2, I want them to do this set of activities, 3, this set, 4 and 5, this set. So when students log in, they're seeing a curated set. And I use my progress tracker so students can use to kind of check in with other students who might have a particular same set of curated assignments, to kind of sit and collaborate and working together. And they know that they can collaborate because it's very explicit. Collaborate, sit next to someone, work together on this. It's very, very clear, because high schoolers need that clear, explicit language versus the independent assignments. We're working alone, or you're checking in with me. That's it. But Mastery Pathways is such an amazing tool, especially if you have a set of students who are at all different levels in your class. Kind of eliminates that, what would my students say? Like that targeting, like, oh, well, Bobby got this assignment and that seems easier and I want that. And it kind of removes that away, right? You don't know what Bobby has. You don't know what Susie has. You don't know what Brenda has. It's all curated to you and what you currently know and where I want you to be. Yeah. And then the second module, if I don't want to use the word lazy, but if I'm like, oh, well, didn't have time to do mastery pathways, really just mismanaged my lesson planning time. I like to put module restrictions to force my students to move at a particular order, because sometimes high schoolers will go straight to the end and try to take the end mastery check and not even do the unit lesson 1 notes. So this kind of goes through. It allows me to give them feedback in a timely manner. It allows me to sit with them as they revise their assignments as well. And they know what it is that they need to score or submit in order to move to the mastery checks. And the mastery checks are little formative assessments the students take in 10 minutes or less that tells me and tells them whether or not they've aced that learning objective after going through a set of notes and practice assignments. So I have the students move in order here in my module. So really setting up my Canvas to support students with moving through a particular learning sequence so that I can check in with them with explicit feedback and support them with revising activities. And they also know through my tracker as well, what it is that they need to revise. So if they see revise, they know, oh, I got to sit with Ms. Menard. I got to sit with my small group today and revise his assignment to better understand before the mastery check. And so those are essentially the big components of my self-paced classroom. I will say it does take some front loading in the beginning. So Q1 was just a lot of repeating, reinforcing, reminding students of what it is they need to do. But by the time Q2, Q3 comes along, it's just a well-oiled machine, and students know what they need to check, exactly where they need to go and where they need to sit in my classroom, whether, small group work, independent work, collaborate work, mastery check time. They are all moving with exactly where they need to go and what they need to do.
Yeah, I can't help but think as I'm looking at your setup here about how much both the Canvas setup and your tracker really focus on learning as a process. It's not just a oh, you got to see on this end of unit test, 25 questions here. And so, like, I guess now we move on. It really is like a process of refining thinking, a process of revisiting learning, and making sure that you really do understand the concepts.
Absolutely. I know for myself, when I went to college after high school, I really struggled with, oh, well, I thought I aced it, but there's just so much more to learn and there's so much more to build on. And it's okay to go back and revise. It's okay to go back and edit and add on to what you know and build on your knowledge and really challenge yourself too. See if you really understand. And building that culture in my classroom, I think really supported my students with understanding that it's okay to not know what you don't know. And it's okay to revise because we're all here to learn and build on our knowledge and just be critical thinkers.
Yeah, I think I could categorize myself. I saw someone in our Facebook group say this, and I was like, no, that was probably me. Is that some of their students are grade chasers, and I think that was very much me. And I didn't care so much as to what I got wrong or why, but I cared that I got the A or I got the B or I got the C. And I think that really removes some of the line of thinking of just got to get the A, right? It's like, no, really, you need to understand the content.
Yes, yes, agreed.
Now, I've heard from a lot of educators that self-pacing is a mental challenge for them because they feel like, oh, they're just letting students go. Like here they've created all this content and they just let kids go. And they worry about, how are students going to stay motivated, or how can students be responsible enough to handle this kind of freedom. So I'd be curious, like, what kinds of tips would you give them?
Yeah, that's such a great, great question. For me, one of the things that I had to learn, especially when I started modern classrooms, is even in the traditional classroom, you lecture and then you set students free to kind of go do particular assignments as you walked around. So self-pacing is essentially that, but individualizing it for students. So I still do my whole class opener. I still have my whole class ender. I still have whole group labs. And the self-paced time in between allows students to work on assignments, lessons, activities exactly where they're at so that I can check in with students and kind of give them targeted support where they are. So just kind of wanted to address that with self-pacing. So one of the advice that I would give is to definitely work on seating charts. I am very explicit with my seating chart so students know when they come in, oh, okay, meeting Miss Menard at threshold at the door. She's checking in with me. I'm sitting at this section because I need to work on this assignment. I'm sitting here today because later on I'm going to be doing some individual work. So definitely working on your seating charts weekly. Doesn't have to be daily, but something weekly. And just thinking through creating a system where your students know where to access the work, what it is that they need to revise at any given time, and how they can get feedback from you. So I would say those are the two biggest pieces of advice, kind of working on your seating chart so students know where to sit. So when you launch them to kind of go work on their activities, they're already seated where they need to collaborate or think independently, and then thinking through your systems of where are students getting the work from, how are they getting explicit feedback from you as they're working on their particular activity.
That's really cool. I actually had the privilege to see a school here in Michigan and how they set theirs up. And it was just really cool to see just the student's name was highlighted, and that's how they knew that they needed to check in with the teacher at the beginning of class. And then every other student just had their name listed under the lesson they were working on, and they could collaborate with anyone who was listed there with them. And I think that's just another really powerful way to easily signify to students where they're at and what they should be doing.
Yes. And I would say my tracker I have a tracker for every unit. It's auto updating. So I just double click and it just updates it for me really quickly. It's also pinned to all of my modules. One of the things that I did to support my learners is every Friday, I would update this announcements tab here, and then I would text random families. I would just send the link to random families. Families also knew that they could always access the progress tracker through Canvas as well. And so my students always knew, like on Fridays, somebody was getting a random text. They were either going to have a great weekend or they were going to be revising some work over the weekend as well. So I also had families and caregivers at home supporting me with self-pacing because they're getting the text from me. They're getting emails from students. They're checking in saying, I see that Bobby needs to revise.
My parents would have loved you, Debbie. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us and sharing all these great tips. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody who's on the line here today appreciates it as well.
Yes.
If you're interested in learning more about a modern classroom, please visit our website at modernclassrooms.org. You can apply for the scholarship for Virtual Summer Institute from Keep Indiana Learning at modernclassrooms.org/Indiana. It's right there on the screen. You can see it there. And if you'd like to see live examples of what a modern classroom looks like, follow us on social media at Modern Class Proj. That's Modern Class PROJ on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And keep in mind that this session that we've just recorded for you today is instantly available for reshare from Keep Indiana Learning. Share with anyone who can benefit, hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and thank you for joining us today. Have a good one.
Bye.